what are your insights about a personality of Virat Kohli? And maybe I will also tell you to kind of brief us about what CliftonStrengths are, maybe the 34 themes and what they distributed amongst the four. And what do you think? It's a guesswork, I know, but in your understanding and knowledge, what makes Virat Kohli the Virat Kohli that he is today?
I think you should have ended the question by asking what makes Virat Kohli a true GOAT, you know. Greatest of all the times, right? And along with even, I think, along with even Rohit Sharma. And I think, before I must say this, Anurag, it's inevitable, but I think it's going to be sad and bittersweet to see these two pillars, these two giants, these two legends of the game retire at the same time. I think they complemented each other so beautifully well. And one kind of picked up where the other had missed out. I mean, we could see it even in the ODI, and especially in the semi-final. And I think I interrupted you. You were talking about some semi-final before, Anurag, while I was...
Yeah, I mean, I was just referring to the semi-final knock of Rohit Sharma. I mean, he single-handedly sort of took India home in that and against the England.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah, I got it. So what I'm saying, all of a sudden, we knew that it was inevitable, but in the morning when I heard that Rohit Sharma has also announced his retirement, all of a sudden लगा कि यार अब अगला champions अगला T20 होगा 2 साल बाद उसका क्या होगा? But I think it's also a wake up call for us to build and develop our bench strength and somewhere trust our bench strength, right? All other uncertainties being equal. Having said that, I think let me come back to your main question, Anurag. You asked me to talk about Virat's personality and in a way connected with the strengths part, right? Now, there is one side of a persona which is visible, right? And specifically speaking about Virat, it's like his aggression, his determination, his go-getter attitude, his killer instinct, take no prisoners kind of an attitude when it comes to the game, his aggression, his excitement, his, sense of celebration. And along with that, I think it's also his sportsman spirit. I think I can never forget what he asked the crowd to do when the crowd was going, Smith.
Okay, yeah.
The Australian captain after his ban, and he came back. And I think he has, more passionate fans in Pakistan than maybe, I guess, here in India. So there is a persona, there's a visible side to it of any person's personality, and then there is the invisible part to it. Now, the invisible part is what the strengths measures, or the CliftonStrengths assessment measures, right? And it helps us make sense of the behavior of a person outside, the consistent behavior of a person on the outside. And for that is where we have, the scientists at Gallup, led by Dr. Donald Clifton, and the statisticians, the mathematicians, the psychologists, etc. They studied excellence. They studied excellence for many decades, and from decoding how those people worked is where they came to understand that as of today, there are 34 different talent themes that every person would have. And how do you know this? You know this by doing a psychometric assessment, which I said is called as a CliftonStrengths assessment, right? Now you do that and you see how these 34 talent themes are spread inside you, from what is called as your dominant talents to your supporting talents to your lesser talents. Now from these is where, you help yourself understand that out of the top 10 that you've got, which are your strengths as of today, which are your latent talents, which means you're not even aware of it and you've not had an occasion of using them, and which are your lesser talents and which are your weaknesses, so to speak. And then you, with the help of a coach, somebody who's certified like me, you work to consciously integrate that knowledge into your day-to-day work. You also look back at your successes in life and, try and figure out which of these talent themes were at play unconsciously back then, which helped you kind of truly succeed and become effective. And then going forward, how do you intentionally and consciously apply those things? That's how it works. And here is again where the cricket ball story and me come into picture, but we're not talking about me, we're talking about the GOAT, talking about Virat Kohli. So let's stay focused on Virat Kohli. Now, when you study Virat Kohli's behavior patterns, his obsession with fitness, his obsession with excellence, his obsession with not giving up, etc. I think you can broadly say, subject to any surprises, which will come up when we actually do the test, but broadly you can guess and say that, the following talent themes would be present in him, no matter what. One is what we call as maximizer. Now, people with maximizer, among other things, they have an obsessive focus on excellence, which is where they would challenge their own benchmarks. they're never satisfied with good enough. They'll always want to make it better and better and better and better. And Maximizer is clearly evident in him in terms of how he's worked on his own challenges or the ghosts he faced in the England tour last decade and kind of overcame that. His focus on fitness and getting better and better and things like that. So Maximizer certainly comes out. I think he's also a good case for another talent team called as Achiever, which means that, he would make sure that, he will stay on and finish the job. And if he's not finished, he'll be harsh on himself and come back to do a better job the next time around. He's also, I think, a poster boy of responsibility. You take on the responsibility. You don't kind of blame someone else. You don't blame someone else for this, right? I remember distinctly in the year 94 or so, there was a match that India was playing. And it was sad to see. I'm not blaming anybody because we all are wiser in retrospect. But each one of us has own challenges. But I think back then, I don't remember against which team this was, but Manoj Prabhakar and Nayan Mongia, when they saw that they saw back in those mental conditions 30 years ago, when they thought that the match was lost, they were just doing tuka-tuki, You don't expect that. You can't expect that from a Kohli. Either he loses his wicket, or he gets a job done, but he will not hold himself back and trying. And that's a classic example of a person with a high talent team of responsibility, right? You also look at his competitive spirit. A little dicey to say, but he might have another talent theme called competition. He loves a competition, and the competition brings out the best in him, right? And I think the Australians figured it out nicely well a couple of years, saying that if you don't want to get beaten up by a Brian Lara, like Michael Vaughan realized after Brian hit them for 400 not out, and similarly the Australians talked about Virat Kohli, that if you don't want to kind of get taken to shredders and pieces, don't provoke, don't get competitive with these two people, right? And I think in one of the interviews, Anushka Sharma kind of, imitated how Virat Kohli would run over the stadium with this excitement, even if someone got the wicket, right? So that's competition. So these are some of the talent themes I see, but he is also a great entertainer in the game, with the mimicking ability and all that. So I think he would have some good communication talent themes, and I think yesterday's interview also, Harsha was repeatedly pointing to that statement he made about Sachin Tendulkar at the 2011 World Cup, win. And I think he's also got a gift with words. He knows how to articulate himself well. So I think communication is another talent theme, which I'll not be surprised if I see in his top 10. He's also got, I think, good in terms of execution as well as, influencing talent themes. So execution, I've already spoken about, responsibility, about, I think, the achiever part of it, right? Influencing me, certainly, competition I've spoken, communication I've spoken. I think he's got one more thing, and that is called command. I mean, he's somebody who will not hold anything back. He'll call a spade, whether it be to his own team members or to his own management or to the opposing team. He's not somebody who's shy away. So command is another talent theme, which again, I'd not be surprised if I do his, or if he does his own CliftonStrengths assessment, and he, asks me, hey, Shri, if you were to look at my report and tell me, and then with that report, I can do an appreciative inquiry with him, and then, help the world understand what was really going on behind some of his best performances, and which of those talent themes did he unconsciously bring back to use when he kind of had to reinvent himself. I mean, who would have given a chance, after to Kohli after what happened between him and Saurav Ganguly? A very sad and unfortunate thing. And I was telling one of my friends from Sri Lanka in the morning today that, this win is special because this came for a team that was absolutely fractured, between, let's say, Kohli and Ganguly and a Dravid, being left in the middle all over to take care of Rohit on one side and then Kohli on the other side. And then between Kohli and Rohit, what had happened in the 2019 semi-final, we all heard the rumors that they had a fight because of, the timing at which Dhoni was sent into bat. And the rumors was that Rohit thought that Dhoni should have been sent earlier. We don't know. All that had happened, and then the fracture between, Hardik Pandya, Jasprit Bumrah, and Rohit Sharma. So given all those factors, to see what happened yesterday is phenomenal. But I think going back to what Kohli went through after that kind of, bad breakdown that happened, and from there to see him come back and do that 83 not out against Pakistan in the opener in the T20 World Championship in October 2022, I'll bet that while he may be conscious of some of the efforts he would have put at the mental level, at the physical level, but we can also connect it back to some of his inherent latent talent themes that would emerge from it. And then he'll say, I know now these were the things that kind of, motivated me or helped me to kind of bring out my best game ever. Yeah, I mean, he was a match winner yesterday. Without his knock, we would have certainly lost it. But if you would ask me to kind of rate his performances, yes, it's also there with the 83 not out. But 83 not out is legend. You know, I think that's where he became, you know, Emperor Kohli in the in the words of one of those